Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Human Training Your Dog is Begging You For podcast. And if you are needing help understanding your dog and their crazy behaviors, you've come to the right place. We're Charles and Laura Countryman, co-founders of Canine Culture Dog Training in the Dallas, Texas area. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning.
And as always, we have senior trainer and head of our dog evaluations, Wyatt. Good morning, Wyatt.
Good morning.
All right, guys. So if you're having issues with, people are having issues with training, behavior, or emotional, maybe it's just health and happiness of their dog, that's what this podcast is all about. Our goal is to help you understand your dog better, learn more about creating behaviors that you'd like to see more of, and hopefully replace some of those pesky behaviors you'd certainly like to see less of. And on today's episode, guys, we're going to be talking about dog training franchise.
Woo!
So, excuse me, franchises are kind of not the rage now. They've been the rage forever. But man, they have really taken off in popularity when the economy was booming because people, I think because a lot of people that wouldn't typically pursue getting their dog trained, the economy was doing so good that a lot of people were. And it's a low cost of entry to get into dog training.
This is true.
That is very true.
And what I mean by that is, depending on the state, but I cannot honestly think of a state off the top of my head that has a licensing requirement to be a dog trainer. A few municipalities do have some licensing requirements to board dogs, and then grooming, some municipalities have that. But to be a dog trainer, I do not know of a single law. So that means it's easy to get into. And it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Because if you want to do nails for somebody, fingernails, you got to get licensed for that. Mm-hmm. If you want to cut somebody's hair, you got to go to school for a couple of years. Yep. I mean, if you screw my hair up, it'll grow back. I mean, I guess women are more concerned about that. But if you cut my hair bad, I'm just going to shave it all off. And 6 weeks later, I'll be fine.
It'll grow back.
I'm not going to go home and pout about it. I might not give you a tip. But so dog training, it is kind of always surprised me that there really is no licensing.
In America, there is not.
Yeah. Some other countries definitely do.
Yes.
Are there definitely schools you could go to?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. No, unfortunately, we should do a podcast sometime on schools.
We should.
But there's a couple that if we were hiring a new trainer, because we've hired 5 from one particular school, and that's a 4.5 month school, and I would never hire another trainer out of that school ever again. Ever.
Because it's not like dog training is not like going to a trade school. Electrician trade school, you learn X, Y, and Z. It's always the same, pretty much.
Always the same.
And if the rules are the same. Dog training, a dog is a living being, and so it's always different.
Yeah,
every dog is different.
There's no exception to how electricity goes through a circuit.
Or
a
a
dog
plumber
could change its mind or been abused or something.
110 is 110 if you put a fork in an outlet.
Yeah.
It's still going to be the same.
The problem is people go to dog training school and think now they know how to train dogs. Well, no, now you know how to train the 2 dogs that you have.
Well, that's actually I guess we could chat about that a little bit if we have time. That's actually a training school.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of training schools, and most reputable schools are 2 to 5 months long.
Yeah.
2 months is not enough. There's one in California, Michael Ellis.
Yeah, he's really good.
Michael Ellis School for Dog Trainers. His is 4 to 5 months long. Amazing school.
But we don't.
But there's a couple that I wouldn't want anybody that came from that school to handle my dog because they're very heavy-handed.
But anywho, let's go back to the franchise.
So back to franchises. All right. If I was going, most people, obviously, I think the motivation to get a franchise or to buy in and pay all these fees to get a franchise is you want to, kind of guarantee your success and then learn the trade that you want to get into.
Yes.
So McDonald's is a great example. I have no idea what it costs to, start a McDonald's franchise, but and I know it's way more than this, but let's pretend it's $500,000.
Okay.
And we all know it's way more than that. Why would you do that? Because everybody knows McDonald's, and if you put it on the right street, and McDonald's is going to help you pick. Actually, they aren't going to help you. They're going to pick the location.
They do it.
They're going to buy the building, and then you're going to lease it from them. And that way, if you don't do it the way they say to do it, you lose your lease and you're out. Yep. And you're out all your franchise fees. Then you're going to go to Burger U, which is several months long, and learn how to cook a burger and serve and order and blah, 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 blah.
And all the paperwork.
And all the paperwork. You're going to learn how to run a business.
Yes.
In restaurants, the consumable, the product that you're actually serving your public, it's like electricity that you guys just mentioned. You put a burger on the grill for 90 seconds and flip it and cook it for 90 seconds, put it on the bun, add 3 squirts of this, and your burger's done. That's the same all day long.
That's why teenagers can do it.
That's why a bunch of teenagers can literally run a multi-million-dollar franchise.
Yep, and they do.
Because there's no thought really that needs to go into it.
Teenagers that are still in high school, like
everything that you're doing in most franchises, especially restaurants, it's just repetition. Same with your example, Wyatt, that you gave on electricity. Electricity follows pretty much the same rules. The only thing that might change those rules would be when you're troubleshooting why is it not doing what it should do.
Yeah, but if you're doing a housing contract, like a suburban building contract, it's the same house over and over.
And electricity, how to do it it's rules. And then that requires pretty much a license in virtually every state that I know of.
And they have franchise that do different construction parts, plumbing, electrical, but you still have to do all the testing or all the everything. So back to dog franchise.
So the advantage, the premise.
Yes, the premise.
Let's go with that word. The premise of doing a franchise is learn from other people's mistakes. Great idea. Get up and running faster. Great idea. Name recognition.
Yes.
Why would you open a franchise? We like burgers and put it next to a McDonald's. Nobody knows we like burgers. Never heard of it. So you wouldn't pay anything for that franchise because it has no name recognition. Unfortunately, in dog training, almost every franchise is almost unheard of.
Yes.
One of the larger ones has 300 locations. That's nothing.
Yeah.
There's tens of thousands of McDonald's and Burger Kings. And,
every single small town.
300 is nothing. Maybe if it was 300 in a state, they would have great name recognition, but 300 in the country, there's no name. So why are you paying for name recognition? There isn't any. And that's just one. Most franchises have between 50 to 150 locations. Again, zero name recognition. Here's my beef with, I think all of our beef with dog training franchise. Most franchises, you go to the school to own a dog training franchise, learn how to run a business, and learn how to dog train, and it's 3 weeks long.
Yeah.
When we hire someone, it's 5 months of hand-holding, training, accountability,
just to be a dog
being
trainer.
Monitored all the time just to be a dog trainer. We're not teaching them how to run a business.
Nope.
We're teaching them just how to work with a dog, because in 5 months, they're really just scratching the surface.
Yes.
They finally worked with enough dogs with enough different variances that they can start thinking on their own.
Yeah.
That's with
3
easy
weeks.
dogs.
Yeah.
And those are,
easy,
there's
normal.
no complicated.
Those are the equivalent of the cookie cutter trained dog.
Right.
Yes.
But they haven't done any kind of problem shooting, how to figure out what's wrong with the dog. It's just
that's my beef with dog training franchises is it's not a burger. You can't just put it on the grill for 60 seconds, flip it, cook it for 60 seconds, and serve it up.
Well, that's why I think about 90% of them are e-collar trainers.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Why.
That is why.
So the next question is, why do all these franchises use e-collars? Because they're not cooking a burger. They got to figure out, how can we do this
and not really train a dog,
and teach somebody with no experience how to train a dog in 3 weeks and get it all done fast. We're going to make the dog do it, and we're going to use an e-collar to do it.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why almost all, but not all. But I don't know what the statistic is, but
it's
the vast majority of
90%
dog training franchises, trainers. There's one fairly large one, but they They have bark in their name, and this is all I'm going to say.
They're more
but they don't really go after and market towards and try to solve complex behavioral and emotional issues.
Yeah, they're more,
and they don't use an e-collar. Now they use a weird beanbag or something that's kind of bizarre, but at least they're not training people to use an e-collar and in 3 weeks expecting them to solve complicated emotional and behavioral issues with a dog. Ain't happening. That's not possible. Laura, you went to a dog training franchise school.
Yes.
We were like, I'm holding my fingers up and they're very close together, almost going to buy a franchise.
Until I went to school.
And I know we're friends with owner of a franchise within that franchise. And he told me before we were going to do it, he said, you're going to be probably angry when you leave about how little you actually learned about training dogs, especially for how much money you spent to buy the franchise and how long you were there, 3 weeks. But don't worry, the other franchisees will help you if you have questions. Well, that's nice, but then why would someone pay
just go on a Facebook
$50,000 to $100,000 to a franchise that's not literally teaching you how to train a dog? When you came back, you were like, well, I don't know, what was your experience at that school? At that training,
it was a joke. I'm not going to say who it is, but even the training on how to run the business was a joke. I've never run a business. Charles usually does that. We've had different kind of companies throughout our lifetime. I got nothing out of it. So if I knew nothing about training a business, basically they say we have this Google Drive that the other owners are on, so that's where you get all your information at. So I'm like, what the hell? Go look at
other people's Google Docs and
it's so weird.
Use their spreadsheets they're sharing with you and kind of figure it out.
So that's how you run your business. And then the dog training was non-existent.
Oh gosh.
So they used an e-collar.
Oh, they definitely used e-collar, high up e-collar.
High
it
level.
Was
multiple e-collars on one dog.
Yeah, it was very disheartening.
So besides you and by default me deciding we didn't want to
do it,
jump into that lake, was there anyone else at that school that did not?
Yes, another guy decided not to do it
after going through it.
You brought your own dog, and then we were at some other facility that had multiple dogs we used, and he got it was a cute little puppy. It was older, 6-7 month old dog, so it wasn't a puppy, but they used the e-collar so high, I think they destroyed this dog. They just shocked it into submission. It was very sad.
Very sad.
And so I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and then they test you at the end and with other dogs. And I'm like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
There was somebody had his pit bull that wanted to kill everybody. And the guy that was teaching us, the owner of this franchise, he could teach any dog. He gave up on this dog. And he goes, well, it was ridiculous.
Right. Because you can't fix that in a classroom environment in 3 weeks.
And you can't shock a dog into.
You can't. No, you shouldn't.
Well, I mean, we've all watched people that their parents in high school try to punish them into being a good kid.
No, they got more sneaky.
Ever worked?
Yeah,
ever. It does.
Some of those kids become more rebellious.
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, they shut down. It's a fight or flight.
Yeah,
and
then some of those kids hit their parents.
Yes.
So think of that. Now your dog's biting you.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah. And dog training franchises, any franchise, expensive. If you're lucky, you'll find one that you only have to pay $25,000.
It's not like they're vetting you. If you are a dog trainer, they're vetting you to make sure you're a good dog trainer. Then you can go to this little school to get the name recognition so you can do better. Your company can go better. No, they will give it to anyone that has money. That's in the zip code that they have an opening for.
It's pure money grab.
It is all money. These people knew nothing. Everyone in there knew nothing.
Well, I think it's the downside of companies when you get that big. It's the corporate, like soulless corporation going on. Right. We don't care that we're making quality franchises. We just want more.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
The franchise owners are doing it for the money.
Yeah.
Correct. Was there anyone in the school that class you went to that was a dog trainer already when they went there?
Nope.
So they were all no experience.
They were all no experience. Well, what was interesting about this, a lot of the people in it were, because I guess every 10 years you got to fork out money and go to this school again.
Yeah.
So a lot of them were just those people too. Like I think there was only
renewing
three of us that were never in it.
Yeah. Franchise.
I'm pretty sure there's 3 or 4
So there's the other drawback.
Holy crap.
Then they can take your license.
Then they can take your business from you anytime. Which, if you're being cruel to a dog, that is a great way to make sure that your franchisee is not being cruel to a dog.
I don't think that's
But I know there's one in Houston. I think they finally got shut down.
I don't know.
Man, there's been some funky stuff going on there for a couple of years. So they and it was quite evident to everybody. So it took them a long time to shut that one down.
The owner of this franchise's son that did bad stuff.
We'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
So we're not mentioning any names.
No.
We don't need to have any lawyers involved. But anyway, there's a lot of dog training franchises out there. Cheap way for a dog trainer, they're going to spend $25,000.
Yep.
But most of them, they're going to spend this page I'm looking at. The initial investment's $110,000.
Wow.
The franchisee is expected to spend $159,000 to $186,000. So obviously a vehicle is part of that, and then the wrap of the vehicle. But other than that, unless you're opening a facility, why would you spend that kind of money?
Yeah.
A facility is expensive, and most franchises tell their dog trainers, just work out of your house. Well, why do you need a franchise? That's not a business. Yeah. That's a job. You're self-employed. You're working for yourself. You don't need a franchise for that.
Yeah.
Go work for somebody. Learn how to train dogs.
That's how you do it.
Become self-employed.
Private contractors. They're not even.
And a lot of franchises, that's how they do it. They become a franchise, then hire out to.
Well, they don't even hire. That's the
problem. They don't hire. Yeah. That's very true.
So the dirty secret, for those that are listening, a lot of dog trainers that have other trainers working for them, most dog trainers 1099 all the trainers.
Yep.
So they're not employees. So if you look at it from a legalistic point of view, if you have a 1099, you cannot tell them how to accomplish the mission you have given them, unless you have to follow a pretty tightrope, or the IRS will say you are an employee-employer relationship. So technically, that trainer can't tell the trainer how to teach the dog to sit. These are the commands I want the dog I'm assigning you to do. Sit, come, heel, stay. That trainer should be able to do it however he wants, because if you're telling him this is how I expect it to done, how I want it done, you're now telling him how to perform an independent contractor function. And now, why do they use 1099 contractors? So they don't have to pay employment taxes.
Yeah.
That's why, because they're being cheap. We don't have a single independent contractor that works for us from day one. We're invested in our people the day we bring them on.
Well, the problem too is it sounds like a really good idea. Oh, I'll take your dog to my house. We'll train it. Be like a real life house setting. Did you inspect their house? Did you inspect the stuff? Are they going through a divorce? Are their dogs not?
Maybe his dog's not friendly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is the dog going to live in the garage with no
really
AC?
A common occurrence that the mechanic drives the crap car.
Yes.
Dog trainers tend to not have the nicest dogs for some reason.
You're tired. You don't go home and work on your dog.
Yeah.
Usually a lot.
It's not an excuse to not have a nice dog.
But no, you bring up a good point.
Really common.
It doesn't matter whether someone's looking at having their dog trained with a franchise, independent person, and wherever your dog's going to be in training, you need to go see it.
Yes.
100%.
If it's somebody's home and they say, well, I'm not comfortable having you come from my home, well, then basically you shouldn't freaking be working out of your home then.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to have my dog for 2 or 3 weeks at your home, I'm coming to see it.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I'm going to see where he's training, and I'm going to see where he's sleeping.
And other dogs in the training, all the whole freaking tour.
Yeah, I wrote a blog article on the pros and cons, the differences between having your dog trained at a facility, and there's pros and cons to both.
Yep.
Yes, there is.
Or at a trainer's house. So, if you want to dig further into that, it's a pretty lengthy blog article on our
Because
website.
if you do get someone really good and they're doing everything right at the house, it works really well.
Yeah.
But that's a huge gamble.
Yeah, my issue with training from home, We never have. We just said, it's just not something we want to do. Is the trainer can never really unplug.
That's true.
He's really responsible for the dog 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So you never really get to mentally unplug. And then, some dogs are just not meant to wander around a house. Now the dog's in a crate. Some dogs trainers that train from their home use their garage. My God, in Texas,
it's hot right now.
You try putting your dog in a garage during the summertime,
and let alone you can't. We've tried about the max mental workout of a dog's 2, maybe 3 hours
maybe
a day
for the day.
For the whole day. And we spread it out in 20-30 minute chunks, but most people do 1 hour blocks twice a day, and the rest of the time your dog is in a crate.
Yep. The other, drawback of, working with a trainer that works from their home is your dog is not really getting a lot of interaction. Even an aggressive dog, usually after a few days, becomes accustomed to the 1 or 2 dogs that are around.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean they're fixed, because there's thousands of other dogs that he hasn't seen yet. So that's one reason why we have the facility that we have, and why we did want to be fairly large, is because we need variety. We need every dog to see happy dogs, fat dogs, lazy dogs, skinny dogs, energetic dogs, aggressive dogs, anxious dogs, because that's life. Those are the dogs you're going to encounter when you're walking your dog.
Well, and the hard part is, it's just like punishing dogs with e-collars.
Right.
Is it looks really good.
Yeah.
The dog will stop because it's used to the 3 dogs that train around.
So it looks like you fixed it.
Trying to be aggressive to those dogs, or you have punished it so much it's just going to stop showing you warning signs it doesn't like people.
Right.
Which looks good in the short run in the video, but once you actually go, oh, your dog's nice, go meet someone, but bit the crap out of them.
Right.
Or I took the e-collar off and my dog reverted back to what it was immediately.
Yeah.
We didn't really fix the problem. We just put wrapping paper on it and it looks good.
Yeah, I just really have always thought the business model of a franchise for dog training is just
makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I'm trying to think of an example of franchising something that makes no sense. Can you think of an example of franchising some bizarre thing that makes no sense? And trying to make everyone in uniform, because that's the problem. The idea behind a franchise is everything is uniform. If I go to a McDonald's, we all go to a McDonald's in Jacksonville, Florida, and have a Big Mac, that evening I could be in Tampa having one, and they're going to taste the same.
Yep.
They're going to be basically exactly the same. I will not be able to tell any difference. That is the beauty of a good franchise. That's not how dog training works. Their personalities of the dog vary every approach. Some dogs are happy-go-lucky. They just learn slower with a command, and it takes a totally different approach for that dog to go, oh, I get what you're trying to do.
There is one that I know of. It's way more regulated than we are, childcare.
Oh,
there are big nationwide childcare that no one knows, because it's like they got 300 locations, but they're crazy regulated.
Yeah,
but it's the same thing. Because my wife's in the industry.
Yeah.
Right.
And it varies from the stories I hear.
Right.
From
owner
to owner, there's no quality control. It's all different.
Yeah.
So
that is good. Yeah.
Good example, because a friend that I know that owns a franchise, actually I know quite a few that do. With that particular franchise, you might get a good dog that had a decent experience in training, or maybe even a good experience in training. And with that same franchise, you could go to another state or another city within that state, and it's a horror story.
Oh, yeah.
Because there is no quality control by the franchise. They're not, running out there making sure no one's looking at videos. They only gave the people 3 weeks of freaking training.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you guys did. You went to one that was happened to be the best one in the country. And then we moved out here, and we got a taste of normal.
Based on watching him, I thought, we could do that. And then I saw a couple other, I'm like, what the heck? So there was no continuity from location to location to location. And there can't be, because the dog is unique. It's going to be dependent on the individual franchisee owner of that one specific location, how good of a job they do. Is that person driven to train a great dog? Or is he just about, hey, how many cars can I buy and stuff like that? In 3 weeks, most dog training franchises are 3 weeks. You can't. So you're supposed to theoretically learn how to run a business.
Yes.
And be a professional dog trainer.
So you can go home and
modify and correct emotional and behavioral issues with a dog that can't talk to you.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks. You can't even learn how to run a business in 3 weeks, let alone how to be a dog trainer.
And then talk intelligently to the clients. About dog training.
And run your social media.
And do everything.
And build a business. It's just not. I feel so sorry for people that buy a dog training franchise. I'm like, oh, dude, just go to work for someone for a year and then work out of your house and build your business and just build your own brand. Because now it's your brand. It's all about how you interact with your dogs. So that's why we did it on our own. We just said, we're going to build our own brand. We're going to live or die, rise or fall.
Well, the hard part, too, is it sets them up for failure. Because you might get that good person that wants to do all the stuff for the right reasons. Yeah. But they get stuck with this franchise that
and now they're super invested.
Well, it also markets to dogs they're not ready to handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're like, I can do easy dogs.
Any dog, any size, any breed, and that trainer's not ready for it.
Yeah.
And if they did it
in a year, they
can work themselves up to it.
Yeah, he could be a little more selective and start earning, developing his experience and his repertoire of tools, in his mind. Yeah, that's true.
And another thing bad about franchises, they tell you where your clients can come from, their zip code. So you can't get clients that are zip code out of where you are. So it limits who can be your clients too.
It's ridiculous because here in Dallas,
how it's set up,
the counties are crazy.
Yeah,
it's not
how they lay out. Right,
they're the amoebas.
You can be in Dallas and you're like, are you sure I'm not in Plano? No, you're in Dallas. You could be over by Rockwall.
Yeah,
I'm in Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas is like a spider web. Dallas County. It goes weird ways around.
So it limits who you can get, and even if you people calling you and you can't train their dogs because you don't live in the right zip code.
But meanwhile, you're out $100,000.
Yep.
Yep.
And your marketing, and it's a caca. It's all caca.
Yeah. So not telling people to not, use a dog training franchise. Just, ask them, what kind of training did you go through? How long was it? And was it all about dog training? Was it business and training? And then how long have you been,
how long you've been doing it? What
was your experience before that? What now? And then the big one is what kind of training do you go to that's outside of your franchise?
Yes.
Since that training, because we all go to a lot of training.
Yes.
We have a master trainer coming in this December to work with our trainers for a couple of days. Yeah. On stuff they already know how to do, because we want them to be better at what they do.
Yeah, there's always better.
Lord, you've been to 3 different training schools. You guys went to that Florida Expo.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Just like any industry. If you're professional, you're constantly wanting to be better.
Want to be better.
Learn more.
You don't know everything.
And
never.
No franchise knows it all.
No.
Because it's run by some guy or gal.
Because a lot of trainers have been in the business for 20, 30 years where they will tell you, if they're good people, they'll tell you they don't know everything. They're learning, they're updating, because everything changes. How we think of dogs have changed over the last 20, 30 years by a lot.
Right.
Because a lot of it was compulsion based. That's how you thought you trained a dog. And now that is not how people train.
Yeah, there's a lot more science to it now.
Yeah.
But definitely ask, how, and then, people, they should see that person working with a dog, not their dog, not your dog, a client's dog. Does the dog look happy? Does the dog look like it understands what's going on?
Also, the big box stores are really, but those
my Lord.
They say they're dog trainers too, so you gotta be careful with that.
You just brought in a good point. So there's 2 huge national chains that offer dog training in a 8-foot by 12-foot little cube. Basically setting the dog up to fail the moment it stepped in with the owner, because they can't pay attention because they're in an 8-foot by 12-foot
retail space
with people walking around and they're in there with 5 other dogs. We hired a trainer.
We've hired a
Joe.
Couple.
I'm not going to say his last name. Joe. We hired him, about 2 years ago, and he was a trainer with this national franchise pet store that does training. And then when we started training him, he literally did not know how to hold a leash.
Yeah,
that's when it registered to me. they don't train dogs. They just read out of a book.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, buy a book.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then there's some franchise boarding facilities that have trainers, but sometimes those trainers are outside sourced, so they might actually be good trainers. They actually might real trainers.
But it comes down to the problem of consistency again. Yeah. You don't know what you're getting. Right. It's a roll the dice. Am I going to get the person that owned their own business and this is just their side job because they retired, or am I going to get some high schooler just starting?
A lot of reasons that a lot of franchises are sold is they're by people that want to have an investment and do not want to have a job. So they're buying a franchise because they can run without them. They hire a manager to run the business, and then they have passive income. Yeah. The majority of big franchises, they're multi unit owners. They own 10, 15 of this, 6 of another brand of, let's say, Subway, and 8 of, Starbucks, whatever. But they'll own lots of different franchises because for them, it is a business. Dog training is not that way. You have to, and there's got to be someone making sure that every dog's actually learning. It amazes me how much effort we have to put into making sure that all the trainers are constantly doing exactly how we train them to do it, because humans being humans, you eventually start doing things your own way, and that's fine. Even with go do it your own way somewhere else.
Well-paid, motivated, high intelligence, well-trained staff, they still drift.
Right.
And you just got to get them back in line, and it's not that they're purposely doing something.
No, it's just human nature. It is human nature. And that's definitely a drawback of franchises is they don't have that eyes on the ground to make sure that everyone's being consistent at each location. But the big reason there's a big upflux of franchises is money. A guy called me last week on the way home. He owns a dog training company in Houston. Been doing it for about 12 years, and he started licensing his brand out to a couple other trainers, and he trains them for a couple days and then licenses out his brand. I'm like, dude, how do you quality control that? And he said, I don't know how. I'm struggling with that. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. They're in other states. But why was he doing that? To, make money. Yeah. He didn't have any ill intent or any malevolent, having a
malicious.
Malicious intent. He's just trying to earn a little more money. And, but I don't think he stopped to realize why his system works is because he is his system.
Yes.
And he's not at those other locations. So by licensing his method and his brand and his logo and all that, there's revenue coming in, but there is absolutely no consistency in training.
So if you care about your reputation, you don't want to dilute it that way.
Right.
That's what I would think.
Yeah. So he was asking some advice on opening up a location down there. And I just said, well, man, I'd get a handle on what you're doing right now first before you do it. Go that route. Yeah. Anyway, that's franchises. Yeah, they're because it's money. That's why there's lots of them now, and they're growing. Yep. At the end of the day, the trainer you're meeting with is who's going to train your dog, not a franchise.
That's
so.
True, yeah.
What did he learn at the school, or she? How do they do it? Let me see you work with a dog. Let me see somebody working with a dog at least, so I can see how that process goes.
Yeah.
Why do you use an e-collar? E-collars aren't all evil.
Nope.
But why? Why do you? That's a fair question. Why do you use it instead of just doing it the old-fashioned way of just showing, luring, and teaching?
What's the purpose? What's your end goal? Which should be to get away from the training
because if the dog's always going to need a e-collar, you don't need a trainer. You can do that yourself.
You can actually.
Very much can.
There's a lot of YouTubers.
Right. Okay. So hopefully, that answered
some of the questions.
Some questions about why are there a lot of dog training franchises now? Just follow the money. Same story as anything. Okay. All right. If our conversation clicked with you today, or you'd like to learn more about canine culture and dogs that we train, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Canine Culture Dog Training DFW. You can also follow us on YouTube, K-9 Culture 856. I don't know why it is that, but that's what it is. We're really starting to build up our YouTube channel a lot more. And until next week,
go have fun with your dog.